Welcome back, and we want to give a shout out to our viewers tuning in from all across the state. We've got a growing audience in Beaumont, in College Station, in San Angelo, Port Arthur, Tyler, Waco. Welcome, no matter where you have found us. We appreciate you finding us here on the Texas Daily. We hope you'll come back, and next time bring a friend. Yeah. All right, tonight's Daily Viewpoint. This is a very hot topic, not just for one organization, but for many. Imagine knowing everyone's salary in your organization, whether public or private, for-profit or non-profit. If you had a way to access everyone's pay, would it be motivational or discouraging? At Whole Foods, anyone can look up anyone else's pay in the company, from the newest store hire up to the very top executives. And it's part of an unusual philosophy by the company's management. If you throw everything out in the open, they believe, it empowers employees and motivates them to do more. If you want to earn more, then do what is required to reach this salary level. At least that's the way co-CEO John Mackey sees it. This is the gentleman here in the photo. He's the founder of Whole Foods, and his policy it's been public for years. It's not new, but it's now in the spotlight after being mentioned in a new book on innovative management practices called The Decoded Company, Know Your Talent Better Than You Know Your Customers. Very interesting. So opinions on this practice are mixed. Granted, it may not work in every industry or every company, but
can you imagine in our business, as catty as people are already?
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? But,
it would be disastrous.
Well, I will say this, we're kind of heading in this direction because there are a lot more resources online now where you can look up what a typical person in your industry makes in your town, whether it's banking or healthcare or retail or the media. So this may just be the next step.
Yeah.
But how does this, do you think, Iola, imagine being, say, in another industry, retail, say, and you could look up someone's pay. How would that affect you in your job performance, you think?
Well, I think it would be motivating in one sense, because if you realize that someone else with the same job description was making more money and you found out that they were maybe more productive than you are, or something like that, it could be a motivating factor. By the same token, it could be very discouraging too if you realize that, well, I'm working really hard here and I'm not making what this person is doing, and I could see it creating some tension and some problems perhaps. But
John, what do you think?
How very democratically socialistic this is. It's pure socialist policy, all from one and yours for hers. I think it's a terrible idea.
Because
it kills motivation. I'm not making as much as you, and I'm working harder than you, and I'm not going to do it anymore. And I hear that. I heard that a lot, and I've heard it all my life. He doesn't work nearly as hard as me. How come he makes more than me? And until you get over that hump somehow. So if management's going to be open, then be really open and take every employee aside and say, I'm sure you've seen the employee schedule, here's why you're not being paid as much as George or John
what about
or Nancy.
this? Okay, let me tweak it a little bit. What if management put a pay scale online for public consumption without the names, just the job titles? If you are doing this job and producing this work, for instance, or this many hours, or you're filling this role, this is what you're paid. And people can fill in the names for themselves and figure out where they fit on the pay scale. And if they want to move up and earn more, they can investigate and find out what the job requirements are for that next highest paying job.
Pretty much that's available.
Is that still
already.
socialistic?
Yeah,
it's already available.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we have now. You know, it's people generally know what a job pays, the next rung up the ladder, and
but
that
not
sort of
company
thing.
by company. Not within an individual company. This is exactly what a person with this job title makes. I'm just saying.
If you look at their annual stockholder statement, you can figure that out pretty quick.
If it's a public company.
Yeah. If it's a private company, it's nobody's business. Thank you. You know, if I own a company, it's in a private company and it belongs to me, I'm not going to tell everybody what everybody makes. And I think that's counterintuitive to running a company.
But if you are someone like John Mackey, you're the CEO, the head honcho at Whole Foods, why wouldn't you want to incentivize people by saying, if you do this, I'm going to pay you this much?
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. No. What happens in the real world, John?
In the real world, it just makes half the people mad and half the people are happy because I'm doing better than you are.
Well, I don't know. I can see where a company like Whole Foods might pay each cashier, you know, the same amount because they're doing basically the same job. Each stock person would be making the same amount. I don't know how you'd make a difference in what you pay one stock person opposed to another, unless there was a difference
manager or
in
longer
the hours. It probably would be more in, you know, when you reach the management level where the real difference would come in. This manager at level 1 is making this opposed to another at the same level.
I think the problem, let me say one more thing. I think the problem would be not in just the number of hours or the line item, but in those intangibles. You may have someone who on the surface is fulfilling the same job, but she's more of a team builder. She's more of a motivator, an encourager.
Shows more promise.
She shows more promise, more
Exactly.
leadership potential, and that's not part of the job description, but you as a boss like that, and you want to pay her more because you want to keep her.
Yeah.
Whereas
But
the other
that's
guy...
subjective.
It is subjective.
And you know, I think a lot of people would object to that
Well,
because
but-
that's your boss's. Maybe he thinks she's cute, and that's why he thinks she's a
That's the
better
downside.
worker.
That's
you know,
exactly right. That's where the problem comes
There's
from.
the jealousy I'm
yeah.
talking about.
Right.
They're the intangible explanations for why you're doing what you're doing
Yeah.
that I don't think are public and shouldn't be
Well,
public.
no worries. I don't think this policy is going to go
going to-
anywhere
no,
too fast.
no,
Yeah,
I don't
we'll
think
see
so.
how long it lasts at Whole Foods. Coming up next on the Texas Daily, how the Dallas Arboretum keeps early spring color even with these late winter freezes we've been having. That's a tough job.
Yes, it is.
Okay, we're
School
going to
us.
take a